Why does 3I Atlas become more mysterious the closer we get? Because the evidence suggesting it's not a natural celestial object seems to be piling up. Scientists recently detected a glow around 3I Atlas that shouldn't exist. It's not reflected sunlight, nor is it photons scattered by cosmic dust. It closely resembles an artificial light, a glow so precise and controlled. It appears to be emanating from within the object itself. Thus, a simple observation has turned into one of the most chilling astronomical discoveries to date. When 3I Atlas was first discovered, it was just a faint, lonely speck at the edge of our solar system. Its trajectory is drastically different from any native object in our region of space. It was not born in our solar system. It traversed the void between stars, and due to some unknown event, was cast into our neighborhood. Now it slowly approaches like a silent messenger. Scientists initially expected it to be another Oumuamua, a strange rock tumbling through space. But even from the earliest images, things didn't seem right. The object's brightness far exceeded what its estimated size should allow. Its luminosity was completely inconsistent with its physical size or composition. Stranger still, this brightness never faded, nor did it suddenly flare up, like a comet releasing gas and dust. This was definitely not a frozen rock. Its glow was unerringly stable, as if it wasn't reflecting sunlight at all, but powered by its own internal source. So, telescopes around the world turned towards it. Ultimately, humanity's most advanced eye in space, the James Webb Space Telescope, was tasked with uncovering its secrets. The Webb telescope, parked at a Lagrange point a million miles from Earth, was designed to see the unseeable. Its instruments can detect not just visible light, but also heat, and what it found shocked the entire scientific community. This object isn't just reflecting sunlight, it's emitting its own thermal signature. This heat signal is concentrated at the core, radiating outwards from its center. Natural objects don't behave this way. A comet glows because sunlight bounces off its icy surface. But this object is emitting light and heat, like a machine that's been switched on. Thermal imaging revealed something even more unsettling. Its heat distribution isn't uniform. Instead, it pulses faintly and irregularly, almost like a beating heart. And this pulsation isn't random. It cycles at subtle intervals, hinting that this might not be mere geological activity, but rather something technological. Theories from NASA, the European Space Agency, and top astrophysical research institutes began to circulate. Could it be caused by the radioactive decay of exotic elements? Was it heat generated from internal friction during its journey? Could there be alien isotopes, unknown to science? Yet, one by one, these theories crumbled against the data. What remained in the end was the possibility no one wanted to write down. 3I Atlas might not be a natural object at all. Its trajectory is too precise, its rotation too stable. The lack of a cometary tail, typical for comets, seems intentional, as if something is protecting it from solar radiation. Then came the most unsettling discovery. Its surface reflectivity is nearly perfect in certain areas. This reflective property isn't like ice, nor is it like dust. It more closely resembles polished metal. This suggests it's not merely a rock. It was likely designed and constructed. The most conclusive evidence comes from the light itself. Photometric analysis reveals that 3I Atlas does not broadly reflect light, like a natural object would. Instead, it emits light within a narrow, controlled range of wavelengths. This is precisely how we design LED lights and communication lasers. Even more disturbing, the frequency band of this light includes frequencies used by our own human communication and guidance systems. Furthermore, as solar radiation changes, the light emitted by 3I Atlas adjusts accordingly. It's as if some internal system is deliberately regulating it. It's not random flickering, but rather pulses, in a pattern almost beyond human recognition. A pulsation that some astronomers believe could be broadcasting information. Other astronomers propose a darker idea. It might be listening to signals from within our solar system. Initially, the data streaming back from 3I Atlas appear to be nothing but chaos, a haze of electromagnetic radiation spanning the entire spectrum. This cosmic background noise, which every radio telescope in history has picked up to some degree, is characterized by random spikes and static white noise. But scientists have learned a crucial lesson over the decades. The universe doesn't waste energy without reason. So the data analysis team dug deeper. They passed the signal through filters, comparing it against all known natural sources of electromagnetic activity. These sources include pulsars, quasars, cosmic ray bursts, and even the cosmic microwave background radiation. However, it still didn't match any known natural phenomenon. Some of its features were just too neat. So they delved further. Teams from MIT and Harvard began running Fourier transforms, a mathematical tool that breaks down a signal into its periodic components. If any pattern was hidden within the static, this method would reveal it. What happened next was the team discovered its seemingly random noise was like a camouflage. Beneath this surface randomness lay a repeating pulse. This wasn't a pulse any natural object could produce. Not the slow, steady beat of a pulsar, nor the decaying hum of a black hole's accretion disk. It was an intensely deliberate signal. Its intervals were incredibly precise, repeating in near-perfect cycles, yet with subtle enough variations to avoid appearing entirely mechanical. It had structure, even a kind of elegance, as if someone had woven information into the noise, hiding meaning within chaos. This was likely no accidental emission, but an artificial signal. The scientific community immediately split into two camps. Some called it a beacon, a lighthouse sweeping through the cosmos, waiting for someone to notice it. Others speculated that the signal wasn't meant for us at all. They theorize that 3I Atlas is engaged in a continuous data stream transmission, possibly a form of interstellar telemetry, sending information back to its point of origin. What unsettles everyone the most isn't just the signal's existence, but its constancy. From the very first day the James Webb Telescope detected it, this pulse has never changed. Not once, not in frequency, amplitude, or rhythm. This hints at the presence of intent. If this were a natural phenomenon, it should evolve over time. Radiation should cause it to decay. Its signal should drift or weaken as it tumbles through the solar system. But instead, it remains perfectly stable, as if it was designed to be this way. Then came an even more frightening observation. When the object passed through regions of denser solar wind, when cosmic radiation suddenly intensified, when observatories on Earth tried to observe it simultaneously from multiple continents, the signal seemed to change slightly. The shift wasn't enough to break its pattern, but it was sufficient to suggest it might be aware of its surroundings. Some researchers quietly proposed a disturbing hypothesis. What if the signal isn't just broadcasting? What if it's also listening? If this is true, then it means 3I Atlas isn't just a rock emitting alien energy. It's an instrument, an active participant in its spatial environment, sending and receiving information in real time. That pulse is no longer seen as random background noise, but has become something far more unsettling. This is very likely the first potential evidence of a conversation happening in the cosmos, and we, unfortunately, are not yet part of it. Moreover, this conversation may have been going on long before we even realized we should be listening. As data continued to pour in, one fact became impossible to ignore. Whatever 3I Atlas is, it is not passive. It is doing something deliberate. And humanity, like an eavesdropper, has stumbled into a conversation we were never meant to hear. Then, recently, it sent shockwaves through every observatory on Earth. In under 2 minutes, 3I Atlas suddenly erupted in an intense flare. Its brightness increased by almost 40% in one incredibly sudden pulse. This phenomenon cannot be explained by any known cometary process. Natural gas release only causes gradual changes, not explosive flashes with perfect symmetry. This wasn't the chaotic flickering of ice sublimating in sunlight. It was incredibly precise, almost surgically accurate, as if a hidden mechanism deep within the object had just been activated. The James Webb Telescope's thermal imagers recorded a simultaneous change in the thermal signature. It was as if the entire object's systems briefly activated. Its temperature rose like a machine warming up. Scientists described it as like witnessing a stone suddenly start to breathe. The flare occurred precisely as the object crossed a specific threshold within the solar system, as if it had triggered an invisible tripwire. A mix of panic and awe spread rapidly through the scientific community. This is absolutely not a passive interstellar rock, nor is it an aimless relic from a distant star system. Something within it chose to reveal itself at that exact moment. Perhaps testing something, or perhaps our very act of observing it, probing it with radar, and directing our attention toward it is what triggered the response. This idea began to spread like wildfire. Scientists wondered, was it responding to us? Was it scanning us? Or perhaps it was simply saying, "We see you too, humans." The flare didn't last long. As abruptly as it began, it ended. It left behind a quieter, more stable glow. But something fundamental had changed. Its energy signature was no longer the same. Whatever 3I Atlas did in those few minutes, it caused a subtle shift in the object itself. Its thermal signature was permanently elevated, as if a dormant system had been awakened and was now quietly running in the background. Humanity was no longer just watching, a passive traveler from interstellar space. We were now gazing at something filled with intent, something that had just turned its gaze upon us. Days after the flare, astronomers noticed something, transforming the initial unease into a concern of global significance. 3I Atlas was no longer where it was supposed to be. Its trajectory, once precisely calculated by Newtonian mechanics and further refined by AI-powered simulations, was now deviating from predictions. At first, it was just a fraction of a degree off. Then the deviation grew to a measurable distance, and this deviation was too precise to be dismissed as random error. The object trajectory had undergone an extremely subtle, yet unquestionable, change. It shifted slightly closer to Earth's orbital plane, aligning more precisely with the paths of the inner planets. It was as if it was correcting its own navigation. Natural objects simply don't do this. Comets, asteroids, even interstellar interlopers like Oumuamua are solely subject to gravity and radiation pressure. They cannot choose where to go. Yet, 3I Atlas appears to have done just that. Scientists scrambled to explain the change. Perhaps a jet of gas ejected and pushed it. Maybe we underestimated its mass. But no theory fit the data. The change was too clean, too deliberate. It was like a spacecraft, executing a mid-course correction. Even more unsettling was that this adjustment didn't seem to be aiming for a random destination. It appeared to be maneuvering itself into a position for a closer flyby, not just of the sun, but of us. Analysts noted its new trajectory is set to skim the region near Earth's orbit. While this isn't close enough to trigger planetary defense protocols, the proximity is far too close to ignore. Speculation within the astronomical community grew darker. Is it preparing for a reconnaissance mission, or even a rendezvous? The notion that this object is not only active, but possesses awareness, began to gain significant traction. Perhaps most unsettling of all was the uncanny timing of the orbital change. It occurred mere hours after the flare event, almost as if the former had triggered the latter. Whatever was awakened, inside 3i Atlas, it saw something, it made a calculation, and then adjusted its path. With bone-chilling precision, for the first time, humanity was forced to confront a chilling possibility that perhaps some unknown presence in the deep not only noticed us, but is now deliberately moving closer. As the object drew nearer, the spectroscopic instruments of the Webb and Hubble telescopes began to paint an even more bizarre picture. Its surface wasn't just reflective. It contained highly reflective alloys and rare earth elements. Most shockingly, absorption lines appeared in the spectrum, lines that didn't match any known element. In our periodic table, these weren't the signatures of ice or rock, but the fingerprint of something designed, or at the very least, synthesized under conditions humanity has never been able to replicate. One of the compounds matched a theoretical quantum material, believed to only be possible in environments of extreme magnetic confinement. If true, then this object is either unimaginably ancient, a relic from a civilization predating human history, or it was constructed recently by an intelligence far beyond our understanding. As the evidence mounted, so did the fear. Many Western nations elevated their encryption levels. Observatory data was locked behind classified firewalls. But one group, from a SETI institute, decided to do something no one else dared. They transmitted a focused radio pulse towards 3i Atlas, a cosmic handshake. The message contained universal mathematical constants, the periodic table of elements, and a simple pictorial representation of humanity. It was a cautious greeting, a question cast into the void. Days passed with no response. But on the third day, a monitoring station in Chile, operated by the Institute, picked up a return pulse. It was a narrow-band signal, somewhat distorted, yet unmistakably, arriving precisely 72 hours after the initial transmission. It wasn't an echo, nor a random scattering. The signal had been processed and actively sent back. Faced with this series of unprecedented observations, the global scientific community, while stunned, demonstrated unprecedented collaboration and caution. Every new characteristic of 3i Atlas challenged our traditional understanding of celestial objects, although its behavior was highly ordered and even showed signs of intentionality. Scientists consistently maintained a rigorous approach using data analysis and cross-disciplinary verification to advance the research, avoiding premature conclusions. Regarding the precisely timed signal received by the SETI Institute 72 hours later, expert teams, after repeated verification, suggest it is more likely a complex cosmic electromagnetic resonance phenomenon, or a delayed reflection and modulation of the original signal by deep space plasma waveguides, rather than a response. There is currently no conclusive evidence that the signal contains decodable information. All relevant data is being handled within the scientific framework. No threatening signs have been detected so far, so there is no need for panic. The appearance of 3i Atlas reminds us that the universe is teeming with unknowns. It is not a source of fear, but new opportunity for scientific exploration. It compels humanity to rethink the boundaries of astrophysics and drives leaps in telescope technology, signal analysis, and interstellar detection capabilities. Whatever it ultimately proves to be, it will stand as a milestone in the history of human cognition. Not because it is an alien spacecraft or a cosmic watcher, but because it inspires us to ask this eternal question with a more humble, open, and resilient attitude. Are we truly alone in the universe? And the answer to this question will ultimately be revealed by science, not by wild speculation.